All right, so let's go into vlog 2, which I'm glad I get to say because it means I'm actually hitting record again. Um, the announcement went out for Bologna. People seem excited about the broadcast team. I'm excited to work with the rest of the team, with Medic, with Amy, with Leonard, who shout out to their communities out in force in the announcement post. Love seeing that. Love the excitement for everybody. And I got a good vibe. I got a good vibe about working together over at Bologna. So I'm happy with how the announcement went. I am happy with, a couple of people messaged me about the first vlog that I put out and were interested to hear more. So I figured I would jump into week 2, or it's kind of like vlog 2, week 4, 5, 6 of knowing that I'm going to be at Bologna. Also, one of the downsides of having a light head cat like Poro is, this is Poro by the way, for anybody that doesn't know already, can never wear black. So this is a rare moment of wearing a black t-shirt, which of course now is going to be destroyed. But yeah, so now that I can actually talk about being on the Bologna casting team, it kind of changes a little bit about how I interact with people that I'm practicing with, because now I can tell them properly, but that's only been the case now for about 24 hours. The announcement went out yesterday at midday. I'm filming this on Sunday, the 15th. Which means a lot happened since the first vlog that I recorded. I recorded that a while back. Since then, I've had my first pre-rift, or the one pre-rift that I did, which was cool. Really enjoy sealed magic. That's wrong. That's actually antithetical to how I feel. I enjoy limited magic. I enjoy playing draft, but I hate sealed. Sealed for magic is one of my least favorite ways of playing a game, because it's reliant on what rares you open in a casual sense. I think once you get to a top level and once you're playing, you can be good at sealed and good at building a deck based on having a small pool of cards. But when it comes to just dropping in and out, I find sealed one of the most it's just not my favorite way of playing. Draft I love. Sealed Riftbound I thought was actually quite interesting, because I like the fact that you get the basis of a deck, and then you can take it or leave it if you want. I opened Aurelia. I played Aurelia and broke my brain a little bit while doing it. Just from moving everything around. Not so much my playstyle of like figuring out exactly the sequencing ahead of time to be as efficient as possible, because there was a lot of like, I opened a Lucian, for example, the orange Lucian, so it was a lot of like, okay, if I move it there and conquer the first time, then I can untap it, move it back, target it again to untap it from the move, conquer a second time. Like, how many times can I get that to work? Probably the best I had was I had like a treasure hunter, and I was able to just like make a gold, untap, like recycle runes, keep looping around, and it would basically end up about even, and I would just move to all of the points and untap throughout the turn. It was fine. It was interesting. I enjoyed playing Aurelia. Don't think it was a particularly good deck that I built, but I only had one copy punch first, so there's only so much you can do without the best card in a limited format for that. And then we went on to Spiritforge release, and it was like super exciting to see everybody opening a bunch of product, like talking about their pulls. I haven't actually opened that much product. A handful of boosters on top of my sealed pack from pre-rift, and that's just the stuff I picked up at Nexus Nights. It just has kind of worked out that way that I wasn't included in the lottery system. That I wasn't able to get a box from the draw, so it's all good. I'll end up getting Spiritforge cards as we go. But I mean, one of the benefits of casting in Bologna is I actually don't need an up-to-date deck. If I was playing side events, I'd be a whole lot more pressed for like figuring out how to get the cards, for instance for Sivir, which I think is probably the deck that I'm going to play when I do eventually complete a Spiritforged deck. But Nexus Nights was great fun. I retuned my Ari deck a little bit. Not because I think it's great to make the changes that I made, but there's a few things I wanted to try out. Like, For instance, is Lonely Poro better in RE than Watchful Sentry? Similar effect, but there's slightly more limitation on having to be alone, but you get 1 extra might to it, so does that affect anything? Does that change anything? Instead of Lecturing Yordle, I was trying to run Stellarcorn Herder. Again, similar thing. It's not a guaranteed card. There's a little bit more variance with it, but just you can draw more than 1, so it was like, does that work out? Trying to remember my results. I think I went 1-1-1. I played against a Draven that crushed me in my last round. So yeah, I mean, I was kind of expecting that. Somebody, my opponent, literally in game, it was either game 1 or 2 because it was 2-0, had all 3 copies of Spinning Axe. And let me tell you, Spinning Axe is a pain in the ass if you have counter spells and things in hand, because you can't do anything to them unless you've got your gear removal to follow up. Spinning Axe just kind of does its thing, and then you're like, cool, I guess I just lose. Draven seems like a really oppressive match. I was speaking to people locally nearby that were at the table across from me, and we were talking about like, oh, is this going to be a good matchup? You know, you have the RE minus, like, how does that feel? No, you get blown out really quick, at least the way I played it. Mine was a non-competitive deck playing against a competitive deck, and it felt miserable. So it is what it is. Played against a new player and played against another player that had been around the scene for quite some time. So 1-1-1 is fine. Again, not a competitive deck, so I just enjoyed being able to play with some of the new cards and some of the cool new things that are available. From there, I've been doing bits of prep. I'm going to save some of it to later in the video, where I'm going to record something probably Wednesday when my prep is completed, so I can talk about it completely. I'm hoping this video goes out Thursday while I'm traveling. One of the things that can be tricky as a broadcaster, as a commentator, is the decisions you have to make leading up to an event. For instance, for Bologna, something that's been probably stressing me out a little bit more than I normally would think of things is the broadcast like attire, like what you wear on a broadcast. When I started casting back in 2011, 2012, it was suits, it was coloured shirts, like a lot of blue and red shirts and like single block colours with like a grey jacket on the top. Maybe you're wearing jeans if it's slightly casual. Maybe it's a full suit. Then working at Riot, we had somebody come in and they were a stylist, but we kind of had our own personal styles. But it's still, at my time at Riot, it was still the like 2- and 3-piece suit era. Definitely a little bit more elevated, like pocket square, little flowers, that type of thing. Lots of different things to like accessorize, but still within the same kind of box of formal wear. Luckily, I say luckily because I kind of get a little bit frustrated at only sticking within that box. I think it has its time and its place, but sometimes when you're talking about video games, especially, it's like maybe we don't need like the 3-piece suit. Like that kind of direction at all times. For me, it now leaves kind of a tricky situation of like, how do you bring out a personal style within a broadcast where you want everyone to feel comfortable, right? It's like, how do I dress? How do my commentators that I'm working with dress? Like, how does that fit compared to how the players dress? Because that is always going to be part of the broadcast as well. It's like, who else is on broadcast? Who else is in attendance? So a lot of esports, Riot, different broadcasts. When I was working on Wild Rift, if you look at a Valorant broadcast or a broadcast like the LEC these days, moved towards, I guess I would say, streetwear that still is like high-end streetwear, if that makes sense, like tailored fit, or at least like intentional fit. A lot of kind of like neutral colors, but that you can accessorize and have your own style with. And it kind of runs antithetical to that old style I was talking about from Riot with suits. So my wardrobe is like formal or broadcast streetwear that looks not great if there's no like cohesion. And the reason I'm talking about this is trying to find style for Riftbound, where you look at other broadcasts for TCGs, we're stepping more towards that formal wear, suits, blazers, that type of thing. One of the things I talked about in interviews a little bit in the years since leaving the EULCS and Riot is I felt like I didn't really present myself in a very LGBT or queer way. I wasn't really out at the beginning of my time at Riot, so for me, it's kind of important to now represent a little bit of that authenticity within my clothing as I'm on broadcast in the future and currently. So it's about how do I lean into that without without going over the top, without going with something that is completely out of the style for the broadcast. So that's been interesting. I'm trying to figure that out and find clothing that fits what I want to do. But I think I found that. I think I found something I'm comfortable with for the first event, and we'll see how it rolls, because that's the other thing is got to wear different things on potential future events. It's a bit different when you're doing broadcasts every single week. You can repeat outfits a little bit easier, but for me, I like to try and bring something a little bit new, especially when I haven't been on broadcast for a little while, which will be the case this time around. So we'll see. Trying some new stuff. Hopefully it turns out okay. And I'm going to assume that I'm going to make a cut just about here, and we're going to see each other, and it'll probably be Wednesday, and I'll be talking about all of the research that I've done. Okay, so it's now Wednesday, and that means it is less than one day before I go. So pretty much all of my preparation has to be done, and it's not quite, so that's very scary. I've got most of my meta preparation done, like deck lists for most of the champions we're expecting to see. Then on top of that, you've got like who do we think we're going to be seeing play for a best of card? What do you think those deck archetypes are going to be like? So it's been a lot of work over the last couple of days, watching VODs in the evenings, noting things down. I already made a post on Twitter about this, but I think without Kuvi from Turn 'em Sideways and their kind of deck breakdown segments from the regionals, I think I'd be even harder pressed to find a lot of the information. It is kind of like putting together a puzzle of where all the information is held, but Kuvi's walkthroughs of the decks were very, very helpful in getting an understanding going into Bologna. And then the rest of the preparation is done on the fly. The rest of the preparation is what are we seeing in the moment as we cast games, as we see more decks in Bologna, because my hope is that somebody has brought something that is a little bit spicy, a little bit different, something that we haven't really seen too much before. That always makes for a more interesting tournament when you're commentating it, something that's a little bit unique and out of the blue. So we'll see what the actual meta ends up being. I had to submit my prediction for the winning champion for the event for broadcast, and no spoilers that I think Draven probably will still win the event, but I don't think it is quite as tier 0 as people were thinking a couple of weeks ago. I think there are matchups and ways to play that people are now more used to. I still think it's very strong. I still think it's like an oppressive deck to play against that punishes you really heavily if you don't curve out and if you don't play to the same tempo, and especially if you don't avoid combats pretty much at all costs. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting meta. I'm looking forward to seeing it on the ground in Bologna. One other thing I've done this week, did an interview with Medic, who's on the broadcast team with me, and we go way back, pretty much to the beginnings of both of our careers now at this point, where we met at Insomnia in the UK many years ago in the early and mid 2010s. So it's lovely to catch up. I had a lot of problems with my tech on that interview, so for those of you that watched it, apologies for some of the audio editing. It was so much so that we kind of had to cut the interview in half and do the second half earlier today. So it was I'm very thankful that Medic was able to kind of find some time in his schedule and be able to sit for another 15 minutes or so. I mean, he was casting LEC this week, so from LEC into Riftbound is quite a busy week for anyone to be casting, so I was very appreciative. And it was a good interview talking about the differences in casting League and Riftbound. You can find the whole thing on the channel in the related videos. It'll probably be in the end card on this video as well. So I hope people enjoy hearing about that, hearing about our ethos going into Bologna, and the type of cast that we're going to try and deliver from the play-by-play seat. So yeah, it's going to be a really interesting event. I'm looking forward to it. I travel... For me, it's tomorrow. For you, if you're watching on Thursday when this goes live, probably right now. My goal is to release this video probably from the airport or something like that if I have got it done in time. And then if you're at the event in Bologna, if you're at the regionals, say hi if you see me. I am notoriously bad at spotting people, especially when I have my contact lenses in. I could, you know, see you a million times and still not be able to recognize you. I sometimes can't even recognize my husband in a crowd if I have my contact lenses in. It's actually a problem, but it's because my contact lenses don't 100% affect my vision and bring it back up to 20/20. But we do with what we can, basically. If you see me, say hi, and then yeah, for those of you that are watching from home, you'll be able to watch a broadcast on the Riftbound official YouTube and Twitch channels. I don't know exactly what time the broadcast is going live, but I'm gonna imagine it is gonna be like around about 10 a.m. UK-ish. That's a guess. So follow the channels to get notified when they go live, and I will try and film as much footage as I can throughout the event, and hopefully give you a little bit of a behind the scenes when I get back. But for now, I'm gonna say thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Leave me some comments about how you're enjoying these vlogs, and I'll see you the other side of Bologna.